Welcome back, dear viewers, to the RPG Imaginarium, where here we seek to catalog the best traditional gaming stories the internet has to offer. Tonight we bring you the story and adventure hook known as The Commoner Curse of 300 Wands. This story was written by Redditor Draz825 on RD&D Green Text. As always, a link to the original story is provided below. Last Friday night, I invited 6 of my friends to play a goofy one-off session of Pathfinder. When everyone arrived, I gave them a single map and told them each to make a level 1 commoner. What followed was one of the weirdest and funniest Pathfinder games we've ever had. We left the rails pretty quickly and never looked back. For those who want to see the table of random magical effects I used. For those who want to complain about use magical device, yes, I intentionally ignored the skill rules and made the wands point and click to use. Our commoner cast: Korgrok, the half-orc woodchopper; John Chaucer, human hunter; Gemnis, dwarf blacksmith; Torian, human shopkeeper; Philibert, human farmer; Anya, half-elf 12-year-old orphan. Players are at Orhir's annual harvest festival. Basically the only time the village gets visitors. See amazing juggler who can juggle 3 balls. See vegetable stalls and exotic traveling merchants. See aging dwarf Markel Rockhammerschmidt sitting atop his wagon smoking halfling tobacco. The sign on the cart reads, "Earn gold quick, adventurers wanted." Ask Markel about sign. Markel explains that he has been contracted to test wands of magic missile. Markel opens the barrels. The barrels are filled with sticks, 300 of them. Markel explains each one is a wand that has a consistent quirk. The wand will always fire magic missile, but the quirk will happen as well. His job is to test all of the wands to find out the quirks. Markel promises them 1,000 gold each if they test all of the wands. Most of the players are skeptical, having never seen a gold piece in their life. However, greed eventually convinces them that this would be an amazing opportunity, as they wouldn't have to work for years and would become the richest people in Overhere. Asking Markel how to use the wands. It's very simple. Let me demonstrate. Everybody watch closely. Markel grabs a random wand from the barrel and shoots at a bird. Bird explodes. Roll d10,000 random result. All who see Caster believe him to be a criminal. "Stop right there, criminal scum!" Markel is seized by the entire village of Orhir and run out of town on a rail. No one can really explain why he is a criminal, but everyone agrees on it. Mayor Lewis Butterfield agrees that the 6 players can take the wagon and barrels since they found the criminal first. Anya steals some wands when people are not looking. We needed to take a short break since we were laughing too hard to speak. I also needed to improvise a new plot hook since the primary quest giver has become a criminal in the eyes of the player and the entire village. Searching the wagons, they find 2 papers. First is the contract for testing the magic wands. The players definitely know Markel is a criminal, but the wizard in the contract seems legit. Second is a wanted poster for hunting gnolls in the Gnoll Woods. Korgrok. Wait. We could both are. Anya hides under wagon while Korgrok struggles with his ideas of doing both jobs at once. Honest player was not listening when Markel said that they were all wands of magic missile. She just thinks they do random magical effects. Anya points wand at nearest sheep and fires. Sheep's head explode. Anya is now also immune to piercing damage but does not know it. Mass panic, villagers are running away with livestock. Mayor Butterfield tells them that they need to leave now, you've ruined the harvest festival. After a heated discussion about the difference between wagons and carts and where someone can actually sit on them, the PCs decide to head for the Gnoll Woods for the bounty. Half of them forgot to bring any supplies, so they had to ride all the way back to Torhin's general store and grab some items. By the time they get to Gnoll Woods, it is dark. Korgrok can't stop saying, "We're adventurers!" First watch, they spot their first gnoll. Philibert uses a wand to shoot at the gnoll. D10,000 random result. Philibert's left hand now has steel fingers. Philibert starts panicking. Korgrok uses a wand to shoot the gnoll, D10,000 random result. Players get increasingly worried as I erase the board, move all of the players and the horse and the gnoll to new positions. And then fill the board with more models. Teleport all living creatures within 60 yards to the nearest temple. PCs and gnolls are panicked at suddenly being in the middle of an evening mass. Worse is standing on top of an altar to Pelor. The villagers are screaming. The priest drops to his knees and starts praying for divine intervention. They finish the gnoll off with a crossbow. Villagers run into the streets. Anya steals golden candlesticks in the confusion. Korgrok handles animal to calm the horse. Players run out into the street, the guard stops them. Anya bluffs that there are goblins in the church. Succeed at bluff, quietly leave town. The players determined they were in the village of Big Church, since it is the only village nearby with a stone church. They skipped constantly past the Knoll Woods, past O'er There, and over the river. They also left their wagon, supplies, and an unattended fire. They become extremely worried that the Knolls will get a hold of the barrel full of wands and start running amok, giving the DM some great ideas. Players hire Stanton Riverman, a ferryman, to get them across the river. Stanton is initially crabby at being woken, but when they offer to pay him a gold, he becomes ecstatic. Slightly more than halfway across the river, Anya becomes bored. Anya shoots a new wand at a fish in the river, D10,000 random result. Nearest building is inverted. Hear the horrible noise of hundreds of boards creaking and snapping at once from the other side of the river. Stanton notices his grandmother now knitting outside of her house, looking very confused. Stanton angrily accuses Anya of witchcraft. Party successfully bluffs that they had nothing to do with the house. Stanton helps her grandmother move everything back inside her house while the party travels onward. It is almost midnight. The party stops at Over There to hire an escort to get them back to their wagon. Harold Bruce agrees to help them. He used to be an adventurer. He puts on his dented breastplate, grabs his rusty sword, and rides with them. Korgrock and Gemnis spot some bear traps before they step in them. Harold scares off some giant spiders. Eventually they make it back to the wagon. Harold goes home. They search the site. The fire has gone out, there is one wand out of place and a dead chicken next to it. Party believes a Knoll grabbed the wand and turned into a chicken. The party gets the idea to start labeling the wands by number so they don't use the bad ones again. They camp and sleep the rest of the night without incident. Next day they follow some Knoll tracks. They see two sleeping Knolls in the distance. Korgrock successfully sneaks up, coup de grace both of them in their sleep. Korgrock brings both severed heads back to the wagon and displays them proudly. Anya shrieks, "Korgrock, we're adventurers!" John, oh my god, he's turning into an axe murderer. The party wanders some more before finding a crude watchtower built by Knolls atop a rocky outcropping. They were alerted when Korgrock takes an arrow to the chest. Two Knolls on the tower shoot arrows at the party. Torian uses a wand to shoot a Knoll, D10,000 random result. The caster's eyes are replaced by pearls, but they can still see normally. No one notices in the middle of the battle. Gemnis uses a wand to shoot a Knoll, D10,000 random result. The target starts flapping his arms like a hummingbird. One of the Knolls throws his bow away as his arms start flapping madly. Anya uses a wand to shoot a Knoll, D10,000 random result. All objects not worn or being carried within 30 feet are disintegrated. It doesn't say explicitly if this means within 30 feet of the caster or the target, so we roll for it. The Knoll tower suddenly disintegrates and the Knolls fall 30 feet to their death. Though dead, one Knoll continues to flap his arms. 3 more Knolls show up, probably attracted by the screaming. Philibert uses a wand to shoot a Knoll. Seems to work fine. When Philibert dies, the sun will appear to weep tears of flame. Korgrock uses a wand to shoot a Knoll. Seems to work fine. Apparently Korgrock can now cast a spell once per day with no save allowed. Knolls miss horribly. John kills a Knoll with his crossbow. Philibert notices John has not been using any wands. Torian uses a wand to shoot a Knoll. Target is now covered in raw sewage. Knoll is covered in shit. Gemnis uses a wand to shoot a Knoll, D10,000 random result. Target's eyes glow with fire for 1 round. The players think the Knoll is actually a wizard and the wand reveals magical talent. Korgrock, quick! Kill that Knoll before he can cast a spell! Anya uses a wand to shoot a Knoll. Seems to work fine. Another Knoll dies. Meanwhile, in the city of Castlefort, King Rogbert is holding court. The Chancellor of Fardock walks in, bearing the financial forecast and crop predictions for next year. Suddenly, the throne room is completely filled with human skulls. Just completely crammed. Human skulls, floor to ceiling. Philibert uses a wand to shoot a Knoll, D10,000 random result. Target is knocked through a portal into the plane of elemental air. A Knoll disappears forever into thin air. The battle is over. Korgrock is fairly injured. They do not have any magical healing. Anya suggests using a random wand on Korgrock and hopefully it'll be a healing wand. The party begins to question the wisdom of taking a 12-year-old on this adventure. Eventually, someone suggests warping to Big Church for healing. They wisely pick up all of their barrels first. Someone waves a teleportation wand at the nearest squirrel. It explodes and the party is in the Church of Pelor again. Rather than explaining to the priest, Korgrock shouts, "I'm injured!" The priest runs into the street in fear, comes back with the town guard. Philibert, "I ain't going back to prison again!" Philibert panic fires a wand at the town guard. All males within 60 yards are covered in blood. Everyone in church is now screaming in terror. Party can hear some people in the street screaming too. One guard throws down his spear and runs for it. Rolfina, the horse, was female, so she is fine, aside from everyone screaming and being teleported again. Korgrock knows attacking guards is bad and Philibert is bad for doing it. Korgrock uses a wand to shoot at Philibert, D10,000 random result. Seems to work fine, though DM is laughing far too hard for it to be good. Nearest river is full of freshwater sharks. Gemnis uses a wand to shoot Philibert, seems to work fine. Castor now runs at 3 times in speed when naked and unencumbered. Philibert is knocked unconscious. The guard takes them all into custody. Korgrok gets bandages on his chest wound and leeches on his buttocks to put his humors back into balance. The players are brought before the mayor of Big Church. Mayor Clark Clifton is furious. Mayor explains that they are a progressive community and do not believe in the death penalty. They also do not have the facilities to keep someone magical jailed. Mayor banishes Philibert Steelfingers from Big Church forever, says that if he ever comes back they will ship him to Castlefort, where they do hang prisoners. Party agrees this is way more lenient than they deserve. Mayor charges all of them 10 silver pieces for the community disruption they've caused. Party quietly agrees and departs. Back to the river. Stanton Riverman is rather confused how the hell they got across without him seeing them. Is there another ferry? Do I got's competition? Philibert says they sunk the other ferry after they rode it. Stanton happily believes them. Stanton charges him double for the ferry ride this time. Turns out that the river is now full of sharks. Anya is bored again. Anya uses a wand to shoot at a shark, seems to work fine. Next time a caster enters a mine, it feels 50 degrees hotter to the caster than normal. Anya uses the same wand again, it will now be 100 degrees hotter. DM changes quietly the Knoll Cave to an abandoned mine inhabited by gnolls in his notes. Philibert confronts John. Hey, you ain't been using any of these wands. You trying to cheat us? You gotta use 2 right now. John cringes, but complies. John shoots a wand at a shark, seems to work fine. Nearest paladin believes he has lost his paladinhood. John shoots a second wand, seems to work fine. Civil unrest begins in the nearest village and spreads throughout the kingdom. Anya grabs another wand and shoots another shark, D10,000 random result. The shark bites a fish, then immediately gets a bite taken out of it. This one seems to reflect damage. The party gets to over there. I ask them if they want to hire Harold Bruce to escort them to their wagon again. Korgrok only responds with, "We're adventurers." They get back to their wagon alone without any problem, but it is quite dark by the time they get there. They make camp again. Korgrok takes first watch. Natural 1 for perception. Roll for random encounter for temperate forest. 91. Korgrok wakes up with a dire tiger's fangs hovering over his skull. Korgrok pretty much knows he is dead. Korgrok aims a wand at the dire tiger's groin and prays for help, D10,000 random result. Castor appears to lose all muscle, skin sagging from his bones. Dire Tiger is stung in the junk and his prey appears suddenly to melt. He roars and leaps back in surprise. Anya screams, climbs onto the wagon and shoots a wand at the tiger in fear. D10,000 random result. The tiger leaps for Anya. As soon as the first claw touches Anya, the dire tiger explodes into a cloud of fur and guts. Anya is soaked in tiger goo. Anya continues screaming. Korgrok gets up. The party starts screaming since it looks like Korgrok melted. Eventually the party figures out that Korgrok is okay. Suddenly all the goo and fur and intestines sucks off of Anya on the wagon. The dire tiger reforms, completely bewildered but unharmed. The party is screaming again. The dire tiger runs off into the woods and never comes back. The party advances to level 2 commoners. They have seen some shit. In the morning, the party tracks the gnolls to an abandoned mine. Anya walks in, runs out because it is burning hot. Party eventually convinces her to walk back in, and she is fine. Narrowly avoid a pit trap inside, then encounter 3 more gnolls. One of the gnolls, Home, instantly gets hot in cold running water, but no sink. One of the gnolls inherits a small fortune after he dies. One of the wands turns a gnoll into a juju zombie. One of the wands casts Cure Light Wounds on the party. Anya uses one last wand to attack a gnoll. Castor does not believe that they are not undead. Anya now believes she is a vampire. Next round, Anya goes over to the juju zombie gnoll and bites into its neck, drinking its blood. Korgrok, Jesus Christ! Korgrok, I mean Jesus Pelor! We had to quit at this point since it was quite late. If we ever do play again, it will be fun having to deal with the long-term effects of the Shark River, the Skull King of Castlefort, the new anti-paladin of Stumble Glen, the civil unrest soon to embroil the country, and a 12-year-old who thinks she is a vampire.